Each and every one of us has an unlimited inner wellspring of spiritual power. You have the ability to transform, create, and heal anything upon which you set your heart and mind. Join me, Sarah Hall, as we learn how to uplift all aspects of your life through spiritual empowerment. Enjoy weekly guided meditations, spiritual discussions on a multitude of topics, and a chance to call in to receive channeled messages from the angels on your spiritual journey. I'm Sarah Hall, and this is Through the Eyes of the Angels.
So great to be back here with you today on Bring Me to Life Radio. I have to say, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite days of the month. I just so love this connection with all of you. It's so uplifting for me to be able to connect with all of you and hear from you all when you call in. So today we're going to delve into the divine archetype of the goddess. You see, I always ask the angels ahead of time what it is they'd like us to maybe explore together. And this month, I received the message loud and clear to talk about the goddess. We've talked about the energy of the divine feminine before on this show, and today we're going to go a little bit deeper by exploring the presence of the goddess throughout myth and mystery worldwide, and perhaps even touch the ways in which the goddess appears in your own life experiences. And to that note, I wanted to share a personal story with all of you. So yesterday evening, I was out on a walk in the woods. I live just a short walk from a beautiful little wooded area with a river going through it and a few miles of trails. And this is where I like to go to meditate or sometimes to think, contemplate on what's on my mind. And I was thinking about the goddess. I was thinking about our podcast, our time to gather today together. And I was remembering the goddess Artemis, whose mythology I studied in college. I really loved to read Joseph Campbell or to listen to the recordings of his lectures. The goddess Artemis often stood out for me. I liked her because she's the goddess of the forest and of the wild. She represents the aspect of the divine that is nature itself, the vital, living, interconnected forces of life that are so powerful that their spiritual presence often shines through as a very mystical and mysterious thing to us. To the ancient peoples, to go out into nature, into the forest, or maybe out at sea, was literally to step into the spirit realm, a realm where one might encounter spirits and deities. Nature was quite vast at this time. There were lands unexplored and mysteries in nature's functioning yet to understand for us. So that was a really mysterious thing. You see, the world of the human being was order and sense and the known, whereas nature was chaos, the unknown, and the divine. So as I was walking out in the woods, thinking about Artemis, wondering if I should talk about her today when we connected for this, I came upon a group of about 8 or 9 deer. I was so wrapped up in my thoughts, actually, that I had wandered quite close to them before I even noticed they were there. When I looked up and saw them, they just kind of gazed back at me. They didn't show any fear or run away, as deer often tend to do. Rather, they just watched me and sort of sniffed the air to wonder at my scent. I stood with them in awe for a little while and just shared a quiet moment with them. They didn't mind either when I took out my phone and took a little video of them, which if you want to see it, it's on my Instagram. And it then dawned on me. In Greek mythology, the deer is one of the sacred animals of the goddess Artemis. The goddess in her mysterious form was kind of answering my question right there. I had only to wander out into the spirit realm, into the woods to meet her. And there instantly I got my message. And I've met the goddess in other forms in my life. And perhaps you have too. Perhaps you've had some synchronicities or signs or inner experiences or dreams with her. Because you see, though we live in a world in which perhaps we'll say human civilization, order, and control have kind of taken over much of what we experience, especially if you live in a city, the goddess still finds a way to reach out and nurture her children. The divine is omnipresent, after all, and takes on whatever form we're meant to experience it in. There's a quote at the end of Faust by the great German poet and thinker Goethe that states, "Everything transitory is but a reference." Everything transitory is but a reference. Transitory are the things that transition, all things that change. So the things that we think of in our mind, all the changing forms, they're just a reference pointing at a greater truth, a more eternal truth. So in other words, all of the myths, stories, and archetypes that we assign to our experiences of the divine are transitory. Or in other words, they are metaphorical, passing forms. Goethe might tell us that the goddesses we know throughout cultures and histories worldwide are metaphors, as would be expected of a man writing and creating during the Age of Reason, when the goddess was all but out of spiritual narratives being told. And I agree with Goethe to a degree that there are metaphors to be found in the mythological histories that we can see around the world. But through my own spiritual journey, I've come to know the goddess, and really all the spirit world, not just as a mental reference, of course, but as a very real realm of inner power that we can access. The divine is within. When the great yogis of India who worshipped Shiva came to this realization of God being a force within, they would dress as Shiva and say, "Shivoham, I am Shiva." You are a manifestation of the divine and can find all of its power within you. In Shinto Buddhism, this is called the awakening phase, wherein you know that nobody can take away the internal fountain of light, consciousness, wisdom, and power within you. You can see and experience yourself as one with the force that is the same that is behind the stars, the forests, the oceans, because it's all part of you. You are a participant in the eternal mystery. So as I've learned from Spirit, the divine is all in all. It is the formless power that animates the many forms of reality and consciousness that we see and experience. And in this vast multiverse of consciousness that we live in, God, as we experience it, can take many, many forms as we relate to it, as we seek it. And when we experience the divine as mother or as nature, we are relating with it in the form of the goddess. And she is real through her many forms, names, and the stories we tell about her. And though perhaps those stories are maybe transitory and rich with metaphorical content that point to spiritual truths, she is real. She is a collective of spiritual consciousness that embodies the highest form of the divine feminine spirit. And we can call on that. We can tap into that. And we can relate with her by calling her Artemis, Gaia, Amaterasu, Isis, Inanna, Kali, Venus, Ishel, or Mother Mary, and still be tapping into the same general wisdom and spiritual presence within the divine spiritual realm. Her many stories are our way of putting a magnifying glass up to the incredible divine mystery of our existence. Something that is vast and, again, truly mysterious. our many mythological stories are kind of like a trail of breadcrumbs, if you think about it, that are encoded with the truth of our existence. And all of them seem to express, these myths, that we are eternal, that we walk as eternal beings through the doorways of birth, life, and death. Doorways that are, by the way, all guarded by the goddess in myths worldwide. The three great functionings of the goddess in these worldwide myths, wherever you look throughout time and culture, are first birth. She gives us birth. She is the cosmos, or the earth itself sometimes, so she gives life. The second form that she takes is she is the inspiration throughout the journey of life. She is the one who reminds us of the presence of spirit, of some greater mystery beyond just the everyday or just the self. She is the inspirer. The third role that she plays is she is the embrace of death. So again, she's guarding these doorways of birth, of life, and that which keeps us anchored to the heavens throughout life, inspiration, and so forth. And she is death. I love the concept of her as the inspirer throughout our lives, because this is kind of how we connect with her, right? Through art, through spirituality, and so forth. Oftentimes, art is considered to be patroned by the goddess or the muses and so forth, who give us that glimpse into some sense of higher meaning, because art is a mirror for spirit and meaning for the inner realm. And she presides over that. And then, of course, in death, this gateway that the goddess governs and protects for us. In death, it's a return to the womb. It's a return to what we came from, which is her, the life giver. So we can see the universality of the goddesses in her many forms across many cultures, mythologies, as we said, and histories. In this particular example, I like this one. Inanna is considered the goddess of ancient Sumeria, and that was a time as far back as about 5000 BC. And she was said to have descended into the underworld, representing the transcendence of death and rebirth. She is the same as Isis, goddess of ancient Egypt, mentioned some thousands of years later, who also descended into the world below to save her husband Osiris from death and conceive new life from him and her son Horus, again representing rebirth and transcendence. And they are also quite similar to Persephone, ancient Greek goddess, who descended into the underworld, bringing the autumn and winter as her mother Demeter, goddess of nature, mourned her daughter's absence above. But when Persephone returned, so did the spring and the rebirth of nature. Again, the goddess transcends death and is a force awakened and powerful beyond the transitory forms of life. That's what she teaches us. I find it interesting that Isis was also depicted holding her miraculously conceived son Horus on her lap. Isis was the actual throne upon which Horus sat, and upon which all of the pharaohs of Egypt would symbolically sit, which endowed them with their divine right to rule. And then, thousands of years later, we had the exact same image appear in cathedrals all over Europe, often called Notre Dame, Our Lady, some of the names of these cathedrals, with statues of Mother Mary holding her miraculously conceived son, Jesus, on her lap, divine emperor of the universe, right? You see, these divine archetypes and themes appear over and over again throughout time and culture universally because they are the mirrors into our own divine consciousness. They are our expressions of God or the divine awakening and expressing itself through us. I find it interesting that the universality of how we express the goddess throughout time and culture is similar wherever you go, down to some pretty fine details. Our myths and traditions have incredible spiritual truth programmed into them if you know how to look for it, including in a particular example that I think would be fun to discuss. In the significance of the number 9. Such a little detail a number might seem to be in a story or a tradition, right? And yet it's such a profound example of divine truth of this universe being deeply imprinted within our consciousness and then mirrored out in these myths and stories and traditions that we create. I think this would be a fun thing to talk about, especially too, because it's September, the 9th month of the year. So you see the number 9 is held as sacred and associated with the goddess all over the world. 9 is the number of months a mother carries her child in her womb. And so it's a number of fertility, life, creation, and birth. The great cosmic order that we try to express or understand through divine mathematics, spiritual understanding through numbers. The divine cosmic order is the womb within which all exists. And so it's often identified with the female power, the mother universe, so to speak. This universe has an innate mathematics, as we said, and the number 9 became the number of the goddess. There were 9 muses. 3 times 3 is the triads of the graces, who were aspects of the rhythmic energy of Aphrodite pouring into the world. And 432 is also associated with the goddess. If you add those numbers up, you get 9. In Norse mythology, as an example, in Valhalla, there were 580 doors. And at the end of the cycle of time, when the world will end and start over again, 800 warriors will go through each of those doors to do battle with the anti-god. 800 times 540 equals 432,000. You see, this number shows up all over the world in mythological stories where it relates to the cosmic order of the universe. And also 432 hertz is the vibration tuning music, one of which, at which it is thought that when we're tuned to 432 hertz, music powers and reflects the vibration of life and creation itself. 432 is really the vibration of 9, which is the vibration of the goddess and of that which is creation, fertility, birth, and rebirth, and thus healing. Cool, isn't it? The goddess's role in the universal timeless human story has been very significant. And I find it interesting and very telling of the evolution of the human spiritual consciousness we have, that the goddess appears and then seemingly disappears in our human narrative, kind of like the swinging of a pendulum. So, for example, early planting cultures always revered the goddess, because their life and focus was the earth, of course. Their sustenance was the birthing and nurturing of life through the crops that they grew. So the goddess in these stories was always the earth itself. She was their universe and their mother. Many of these cultures revered the concept of experiencing the divine directly. The goddess religions were often characterized with this embrace of the body and of the senses, the dancing, the humanity, and the mystery within. Whereas male-focused religions, when the pendulum of time has swung in that direction with our focus, often, but not always, would externalize God. So instead of finding the goddess within or the divine within in some of these goddess or mythological cultures, male-focused religions would externalize God. For example, the biblical Abrahamic religions evolved thousands of years ago from wandering desert tribes such as the Semites. Their sustenance was not in planting, it was in herding. Their survival depended on the male leaders of the tribe, who themselves were elevated to a divine-like status, Abraham of the Old Testament, for example. Nature if you're a wanderer in the desert, is not a very hospitable thing. You don't necessarily trust it and love it like a mother. You perhaps think of it as an enemy or a force to be tamed, right? Which is exactly what these religious traditions did to the goddess. And in these same religions, gods are seen as external power separate from you. And it's considered blasphemy to state, I am God. Jesus got crucified for saying it, after all. Very, very interesting. Now, another thing that these sort of male-focused religions often do is deny the self, or deny the body and its needs, humanity, the feelings, and again, the mystery within. Because if people were to have a connection to the mystery within, then they wouldn't be following the male authority, right? So it's just a very different kind of consciousness, different values, different dichotomy. But the pendulum always swings backwards, back and forth. It will swing from male to female, female to male. And perhaps we'll find a balance within it. So now, in this current modern world, we have this amazing culminating moment, I think, in history that we're experiencing right now. I believe that the pendulum is currently swinging away from favoring masculine consciousness to an extreme, and will gradually swing back towards the goddess, towards a valuing of the magic of earth, towards a consciousness of our oneness, and so forth. We see in recent history, we seem to have put a lot of value on the thought that comes to us from those Abrahamic religions, or from the scientific knowledge that comes to us through the age of reason and enlightenment. All of this is very male consciousness stuff. And there are many, many good things about this. We need those things. But we can also see that in this masculine consciousness of dominating nature, which is what comes of that thinking, we've manifested a world in which we pollute Mother Nature and overexploit her resources. So again, the only other way the pendulum can swing is back towards the goddess. And this is happening. It begins with a consciousness awakening, a little shift in our psyche first. And then it is embodied in our narrative, our stories, our cultural values, what we do. We've gone far enough in the evolutionary advances, I think, in human life that we are now awakening to our oneness. We have, for example, the internet, where we can instantly communicate with someone as far away across the world as possible. Instantly. We can see that our interconnected choices in world government and economic politics have a global kind of effect. Our consciousness, we are seeing, our very life force is one. And in seeing that, it is unmistakable that we are also one with this earth. And perhaps there we will also be able to reawaken to the knowledge that we are in our mother's womb spiritually. In order to live harmoniously and cooperatively with one another, it is important that we learn to re-embrace earth magic. Earth magic and goddess magic are one and the same. We must do this in order to bring out the awakening of our consciousness back into alignment with nature and her systems. A valuing of earth magic, a respect, a revering of it will help us to prioritize that and to see the world from a different lens, see the environment from perhaps a different lens, perhaps incorporate our science and reason and logic with the mystical and birth maybe a new world that we might live in. It is possible. Some versions of the Christian mythology speak of a second coming of the Christ. And mythologies worldwide depict God being born of a virgin birth. That's how Christ comes to us, right? Or Godhood comes to us, in which God is begotten by the Word or by some form of divinity. This refers to the God within you, awakening at the level of the heart to compassion by way of divine inspiration or divine knowledge. We die to or transcend our animal nature, symbolized in the lower chakras in some traditions, and awaken to our godhood, symbolized within the upper chakras and traditions. It's a symbolic spiritual transformation, and the goddess is the archetype that brings it all about. And maybe this shift will be a collective thing at some point. So, in honor of the goddess, we are going to engage in a little guided meditation together, a little time for prayer and meditation, feeling the heart, so that we can connect with that divine maternal or goddess presence within. So if you are in a place where you can relax, go ahead and close your eyes and begin to deepen and lengthen your breaths, allowing your breath to carry your consciousness down into your heart chakra. As you breathe into your heart, feel and see a beautiful emerald green light pouring out from it. That light wraps around your whole body like a cocoon. Breathe this light into every cell of the body. Green is the light of healing. It's the light that we see within nature and its colors, the representer of fertility and life. Breathe this emerald green light deep into every cell of the body, feeling beautiful regeneration and vitality coursing through you, giving every cell your permission to release all that is not a vibrational match for well-being. We breathe the green light in and exhale that which no longer serves us. The purity of life returning to every sparkling particle that is you. As you draw that emerald green light within, allow yourself to notice a little spark of white light glowing within the center of your heart chakra. Move towards that spark of white light, watching as it becomes bigger and bigger. Enter it as if entering through a doorway. As you step to the other side of the doorway of white light, you are immediately held in the arms of the Creator as Mother Goddess. She holds you against her heart, rocking your soul back and forth with the rhythm of the universe. Feel this rhythm vibrating throughout your being, aligning you with the harmony, wellness, and peace of all that is. Mother Goddess communicates to you that the universe is peace and love. And so too is your life and your experiences, so long as you choose to see it from that lens, by accepting all that you see. She sings a song of perfect, radical acceptance of all, aligning your life force and vibration further and further with the divine rhythm and harmony of the universe, in which you continue to rock and sway in her arms. With your next deep inhale, gather your inner spiritual voice and think the following thought: I allow myself to be one with the force of the universe. I am one with peace and with love. I allow all that I see. I allow and accept all that I see. And so all is peace and all is love. Divine Mother speaks that through this knowledge you can transcend all seeming adversity in life. And so she smiles and bends down to kiss your forehead at your third eye. Breathe in, feeling the touch of her lips and her breath passing through your third eye chakra, moving deep into your consciousness as you are imbued with inspiration, wisdom, and knowledge. With your next deep breath, think and affirm the following thought with your inner spiritual voice. I am perfect wisdom. All the wisdom of the universe courses through me now. Divine Mother now wraps your body in glowing purple and golden light. Breathe deeply, feeling this beautiful blanket of light soothing and nurturing your emotional being, feeding your every seeming need and desire, and giving yourself permission to be nurtured, to be one with peace and love and wisdom as she has given you today. Divine Mother now carries you back through the doorway of white light. She places all of your presence and your spirit here in the earth, in the now. She stands within and around you as a womb, like a lover, like a guardian. As you breathe her presence in, her purple and gold light now flowed down through your spine into the earth your energy feeding down into the root system below you, where once again you meet the Mother as manifest in our planet. With your next deep breath, affirm with your inner spiritual voice, Mother, I allow you to hold on to me. And as you speak these words, Mother Earth's energy wraps around your feet and your root system, grounding your energy right down into the here and now, awakening your awareness in your physical body, feeling your fingers and toes come alive, feeling every drop of presence flooding into your being now. You are present. You are very loved as you are guided by the Mother. As you gently begin to return from the meditative-like state, let's together place our hands over our heart and pray or affirm together. Dearest Mother, give me a heart so pure that I deliver light and love to all that I perceive. Dearest Mother, keep my heart so pure that I am one with your grace and wisdom and faith, now and always. And so may it be for you and for everyone. Beautiful. So we will open our eyes and just shift right back into the room and moment now. And now we're coming into my favorite part of our time together. This is our time to talk. So if you would like to call in for an angel reading or text in, you can dial the number 240-979-6366. Again, that's 240-979-6366. And that number again is good for calling or for texting, or you can submit a question or a reading request in the Bring Me to Life chat room. So today we are using some goddess cards, of course, to go ahead and get some divine guidance. So what we'll do is we're going to take a little spread of cards for us just to begin with and see what the goddesses have to say. So let's go ahead and turn these cards over. Ooh, we got some good ones already. Our first card is the Kali card, Kali Ma. Kali Ma. She represents facing fear. So what I'm hearing your guides and angels tell you in this card coming forth is that there are major spiritual changes possible for you right now. This is your chance to kind of transcend limitations. As you face fear, the angels are saying also by taking responsibility for, maybe holding on to fear or limitation in the past, and release it, forgive it, face it, release it, forgive it, destroy it, let it go, as Kali would teach us, and then we move on. So beautiful. The idea of transcendence is already coming in, which actually, you guys, is going to fit in perfectly with our coming full moon this coming Monday. So we do have a reading request that has come in. So this is going to be for Marion. She says, thank you so much for the beautiful program, the podcast today. She's thanking us for the guidance. Wonderful. Thank you, Marion, so much. I'm so glad. She says that she has gone through my manifesting abundance course. She's halfway through doing a 40-day sequence. Wonderful, Marion. That's wonderful. For those of you that don't know, I do have a manifesting abundance course available right now on my website. And this course is designed as a 40-day or 8-day, if you choose, ritual for transforming your consciousness to reach a state of abundance consciousness, which actually coincidentally is very much coinciding with this idea of the goddess, because if the goddess is earth and helps us to connect to the idea of oneness within that, abundance in the earth and what it provides is infinite, it is unlimited. So to get into abundance consciousness is to shift your life towards abundance consciousness, and Marian is going through that right now. So that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you. What she says is that she's, again, halfway through the 40 days, and she says it's completely transformed her perspective on life already in such a perfect, gentle, and empowering way. Oh, that's wonderful, Marian. I'm so happy for you. She says, out of the blue, she's suddenly going through a kind of challenging time in both her marriage and her work. So it's triggering some fear. And she says that she'd be so grateful for a reading and some divine guidance to find a way through this, to go forward and navigate. Wonderful, Marian. Well, I would love to do a little reading on this. And what I'm hearing your angels already saying is that oftentimes some of the challenges we see are actually blessings in disguise. Actually blessings in disguise. You know, I think it's such a synchronicity that the card that I turned over right before your request popped up was the Kali Ma card about facing fear. So Kali in the Hindu tradition is a goddess that is associated with the forces of destruction. And that's necessary for the forces of creation, right? We need to release things sometimes that aren't in alignment anymore in order to move forward, in order to embrace the vibration that we're coming into alignment with. And you've definitely initiated some wonderful changes in your life. So definitely face the challenges head on is the first piece of guidance that I'm getting that's coming through for us, and see the way that that might help you to come to new perspectives. I'm turning over some cards for you now as well, just to see what we get here. And in the first feeling that I'm getting, even as I'm just shuffling some of these cards, is one that is telling us in facing these, challenges, some of these issues that have popped up, get very, very mindful and very conscious of what you're seeing and you're feeling. So rather than getting into a reactionary approach when something, difficult comes through, get into a very mindful approach. Try to see things from others' perspective, and of course your own at the same time, seeing things from both angles and asking of God, the angels, or the goddess within, what do I need to change? What do I need to forgive? What do I need to release? What new approach do I need to add in? And your angels are saying it's all about perspective. It's all about a shift in perspective. So the first card is the home card with the goddess Vesta. And this card actually represents that there is improvement and healing coming into your home life. So it represents for your marriage. This is a card that says, hang on, keep the faith, dearest one, because Vesta represents an energy of happiness in the hearth and home, healing in the hearth and home, like a sense of support, and I can trust in it. That feels really good. So what the angels are telling you in this is, again, approach your marriage with a healing mindset and know that there are healthy changes that are possible out of the current situation that you're facing. So talk through these things, move through these things with faith and knowledge that there's an opportunity for healing. The second card is the Go Outside card with Cordelia. And what this card represents is oftentimes going outside of our normal thinking patterns or our normal comfort zone kind of thing to find the solution or to bring new positive energy in, going outside. So this is saying don't be afraid to get outside guidance, advice, or healing support for yourself and for your husband in this case, the angels are saying. And also they're actually pointing to your career too, and they're saying here too, more guidance, more thoughts, outside perspectives and opinions from others professionally who are aligned with the kind of work that you're doing is really good. And they're showing us also, especially other professionals, and they're saying get a little more knowledge and inside information. The feeling that I'm almost getting for you is a sense that it's like I'm going back and I'm learning something new. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like, oh, I have to go back to college and get another degree or something like that. It feels a little bit more like you're doing it on your own, sort of. And I'm reading a new book on something, or I'm learning about some sort of new approach or new method kind of thing. So go outside of the known realm and learn more, bring more knowledge and information in, is this guidance that we're getting. And that brings a lot of support, especially they're going back to the issue around your marriage and for your husband. They're saying that new information, that extra perspective in the information really heals him. He kind of needs to go on a little journey where he brings in more knowledge and more perspective for himself. That helps him to heal himself. For him, the angels are showing us that sometimes he gets in some limited thinking patterns in his mind, it looks like. The feeling that I'm getting from it is almost like, oh, well, now that I'm in this little limited cycle of thinking, or of even my lifestyle that I'm in, I'm feeling almost as if there's not enough, happiness and excitement or drive or meaning to go around to keep my life going. And so I'm coping with that by turning to some things that might not be so good for me. And again, the thinking kind of feels a little self-defeating. So healing, again, is the idea that comes in here. He's got the ability to access it, certainly the soul desire to access it. And you two can walk towards that together. And there's beautiful, beautiful knowledge that comes to both of you. The third and final card that we have is from Athena. Yay, I love the goddess Athena. This is the card that represents inner wisdom. So the angels want you to know that the challenges that have popped up in these areas in your life right now are actually here with the opportunity to awaken your own inner wisdom, power, and strength. So this is a card that essentially says, you are wise and strong. You know what to do in these situations. You've got the ability to resolve things. So trust your inner wisdom right now. Trust your intuition and take the appropriate action. Go ahead and step forward and do. You are ready to act on this wisdom. Trust it, trust it, trust it. Be the leader, in other words. Be the leader of both situations, career and relationship. Thank you so much, Marian. Again, I keep getting this little feeling from your angels saying you are being very, very highly guided towards an uplifted state in your life. Keep on calling on them. You've got this beautiful little shift that feels it's ready to come through soon, really soon, and it's all about self-empowerment. Wonderful. So lovely to hear from you, Marian. So it looks as if we have now a caller on. Hello there. You are on the air. If you could just introduce yourself and let us know your name and any questions you have for us today.
Hi, my name's Judine.
Hi, Judine.
Are you there? Okay, so I am online.
Yes.
I have lost my father in July, and on the same day that, he passed over, I also broke up with my boyfriend, and I'm just would like a general reading. I'm feeling kind of lost.
Yes. Wow. What a powerful, powerful, big transition going on in your life. And my love and prayers of condolence go towards you with your loss of your father. So the angels actually have something that they want to show you with this. This transition for your life actually represents a big change with regard to male influences in your life and male patterns in your life. They're showing us that you're kind of ascending to the next level in terms of partnership. What they're showing us is that in your father's will for you, his heart, his spirit, what he wants for you, he wants really high levels of integrity and protection for you. And oftentimes our loved ones are in this really wonderful high, perspective when they go home to heaven. And that's what the angels are kind of showing us, for your father. So they want you to know that through this transition, it actually feels like it's a good thing to have moved on from your boyfriend. The angels are saying that the sole purpose of this relationship was that it was to be temporary. There's a temporariness that I'm kind of getting from it, because the purpose between the two of you was we're going to catalyze new perspective in one another. And even if there's still a little regret or worry or loss or anything that's going on associated with the loss of your boyfriend, the angels are showing us trust the way that things have worked out. This is, for a reason that the two of you have entered your life the way that you did, that you shared what you did, and now that you've exited each other's lives. So I'm just turning over a couple of cards here just so we can get some other little guidance for you. And okay, wow. You've got as the first card, the goddess Quan Yin. And this is a card that represents compassion, care and love and compassion. The angels want you to know that this is what you're attracting at a greater level in your next relationship to have that partnership that your father intends for you, that protection and high level of love. And also this experience is expanding your wisdom immensely. It is natural rite of passage in human life for us to lose a loved one. Every single one of us will face death, first by the way of those that we see who leave this world before us, and then with our own death. And really, it is a return to light, it's a return to home, it is a return to love. It's a passage through which our loved ones actually become closer to us oftentimes than they were in a certain way, because they're now integrated with your heart. There's no separation between you and your loved one because they're in your heart. They're feeling what you feel. They're focused on what you are focusing on. This is bringing a great expansion of your perspective, believe it or not, at a subtle level of being for you. So again, care, compassion, and consciousness are expanding right now in your life, and you're getting a higher and better vision of what it is that you want to satisfy you. Your second card is Brigid, the goddess Brigid, Celtic goddess of inner strength. She represents great fire, passion, and strength, and living your truth. So again, it feels really, really good. It feels very aligned with truth that you're now moving forward through this transition towards what feels to be a much higher energy in terms of your relationships. So big transitions. And gosh, we've got such a theme because with your reading that came through just now, Judine, and with Marian's a moment ago, the theme was this sense of inner strength. You're both being given this light of, wow, it's all about self-empowerment now. I don't need someone else to lean on. I am, dictating where my life will go by way of the things that I'm actively valuing in my life. So a lot of strength. Any thoughts or questions on that so far?
No, I feel all of that.
Yes.
I do feel my dad's presence, and I know I need to let go of that relationship, but I was holding on still.
Yes. See, I pulled one final card for you because I just felt guided to. And what this card is so beautiful. It's the goddess Radha of Hindu mythology, representing soul flame, spiritual, divine soulmate relationships and that kind of thing. And also being led by your own inner soul flame, your own divine passion, like we kind of saw with Bridget and her strength coming forward. The angels are saying, yes, absolutely. It's totally time to do whatever work your heart and soul require of you to release your ex. That feels like it's really just on target for you right now, and that you're being led towards your soulmate, soul flame, again, who just blows every ex you've ever had out of the water. The angels are saying, if you knew it was coming towards you, you'd run for it, is what I'm feeling. You'd run right into, the next chapter of life. So use forgiveness to clear the past, and know that your father's really helping you. I feel a sense almost that he'll be like a spiritual bouncer to keep out the unsavory energies and potential relationships, and raise the level to really, really good ones. So yeah, trust it. You're on a beautiful path, even though it's a little tough. There's some bittersweet in it for sure, but keep the faith. There's a lot of strength coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judine, and thank you for bringing your beautiful energy and your beautiful story to us today. I think it's really inspiring. For me, it is, and I'm sure for others listening. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Gosh, it looks like we've got several other reading requests. So let's go ahead and choose one. Let's go ahead to Tara. So Tara is saying that she would like an angel reading. She is struggling with some loneliness right now, right away, I'm feeling you've got incredibly strong guides, Tara. Oh my gosh, really, really strong guides. You must be praying, or you must have someone praying for you. You've got angels and spirit guides that are so strong right next to you. And what they're saying to you right now is that you are experiencing this feeling, and it's launching out this powerful resonance of energy around you that is asking for that loneliness to be answered with love and togetherness and oneness, joy, that kind of thing. And through this time, actually, the angels are saying that your truth is kind of coming forward. I'm getting this feeling that it's like, okay, through the loneliness, through the separation, I'm kind of feeling, again, what I truly, truly want and what I value the most out of life. Relationships are one of those things. We, all human beings, are designed as spiritual creatures who are meant to connect with others. We are kind of tribal creatures. So the feeling that I'm getting here is actually that there are relationships that are being guided into your life, and that your angels are saying your path to attracting those relationships in, including which actually feels like there's a soulmate relationship, a romantic soulmate relationship, not too far down the road for you. The way to get to it is by practicing stating your truth to yourself and then to the world. Because as you resonate at the level of your truth, of what I really want out of life, what are the standards that I demand out of relationships, what I need, that then comes to you. It's like putting your foot down to the universe kind of thing and saying, this is what I want kind of thing. So I've turned over just a couple of cards for you to see what we get. Ooh, the first card, this is perfect, is Joan of Arc. The Joan of Arc card, its little subtext is voice of truth. Joan of Arc and the voice of truth. So this is a card that's saying hang on and stand strong kind of thing, and focus again on your values and on your purpose. Release the fear of, loneliness or separation, or of, any challenges that have been there in past relationships with others. Because as you continue to live and resonate and speak your truth, breathe your truth, know your truth, live your truth, you're attracting like-minded people. There are like-minded people coming. Second card is the Coventina card with the message purification. So this is a time in your life in which, maybe there's been a little bit more aloneness, because something that your soul is doing is it's attracting some purification. Again, that all is coming through the voice of truth, working really hard through your life. So as you awaken to the truth, you are purifying and getting rid of the things that you don't need anymore. Also forgiving and releasing and healing from old patterns and past relationships that just didn't seem to serve you. So what the angels are showing us is, again, just believe that you deserve now to meet and connect and have real love and joy in your relationships with, the people who are coming. And that's all you need to do, because once you live your truth, you're attracting them in easily. So tell yourself you deserve it, and you'll start to meet them. They'll start to show up. One thing that they're showing us as well around you is a sense of community around something very purposeful. So if you're doing any work in your life that you feel really drawn to do that's purposeful, it's like making a difference in other people's lives, that's one of the primary ways that I see new relationships coming in. So follow your passion to help, to serve, to guide, or to give love or goodness to other people. And that feels like it's a big primary way where these new wonderful relationships are coming in, and where, again, I do see a romantic relationship coming forward, and I feel big healing for your heart romantically, and a sense of family as well, where they love you and your other loved ones as well. Beautiful. Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much for your question. Let's go ahead and see what we have. All right, we'll have time to just accept one more call. I know we've got a lot of other messages that have come through, but we're going to go to our caller. Thank you so much, caller. You are now on the air. So if you could just go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know what you'd like to request or ask about today.
Oh, yeah, hi. This is Tarek. I'm calling from Cancun. And I just wanted to get some reading on a general reading.
Yes, that sounds great. I would love to. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards that we have and see what wants to come up. Interestingly, as I connected with your energy too, you've got some angels around you, your regular guides, who have been really watching over your life's purpose path. I'm kind of getting a sense almost as if there's something that's ready to bud in the way of your career, or like big ideas of inspiration around what your life's work will be, or what the mark you'll put on the world will be. So I'm kind of getting this sense of like, listen to that inner passion and see where your passion is driving you, because that's, the angels are putting it this way, it's one of the noblest things we can do is to follow the things that we feel the most strongly about, feel the most passionately about, because when you serve that, the world will serve you back. Have you been looking for anything or working on life purpose or career stuff a lot lately?
Yeah, I've been like working on as like becoming like a sponsored athlete, and it's kind of been like kind of like a challenge because I started sports kind of late. Well, it wasn't like very late, but as opposed to like the custom like way of seeing it in society, like you like one of the beliefs is that you should start sports really young. So it was kind of like my passion to just like do it for just myself and like inspiring other people and doing it and showing it that you don't have to be like the best athlete or you don't have to start at a young age to pretty much do what you love.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So your guides are really, really helping you with this a lot. They want you to know that you're very wise not to believe in limitations right now, not to think, oh, well, other people do it this way. They start young. And so I shouldn't. No. You're very wise to write all of that off because you're being guided to do something very special with your life's work. And it's amazing because through athleticism, I feel that it's this really wonderful way to give yourself a voice in the world too. And the angels keep saying, tell your story, let people get to know you more, let people see into your heart and into your life, and, do it in a public way. I'm kind of getting a sense of, certainly social media, but I'm almost also getting a feeling that there's like someone who's like filming you somewhere off in the future, like a documentary or something like that. And your voice is giving rise to this great stuff going on. So I pulled some cards for you with this path right now, and there's some cool stuff happening. So the first card is the Aphrodite card, which represents the inner goddess, but it's also representing kind of awakening that force within us through self-expression, expressing your divinity in some way. So again, that's that same thing where I'm getting this feeling of tell your story, express yourself, show yourself, and be really unique when you do it. Don't feel like you ever need to fit into somebody else's mold, because you are getting attention. You will gain the right attention the right way by being completely uniquely you. And it looks like it will work out. It feels very successful kind of thing. There's some other kind of really mystical things coming through here. So I've got two different cards, right, that card decks I'm pulling from. And the next two cards are the same goddess showing up from two different decks. So the first one is Isis, the Isis card showing past lives. So past lives with Isis. And the other one is Isis with manifestation, the magic of manifesting. So for some reason, Isis really wants to show up in your life right now. That's pretty cool that we see that. Okay. And the past life card is usually a card that represents that this situation that you're in right now, again, manifesting around your career and your divine purpose, which the angels are very focused on with you right now. This involves something that your soul has done before. There are past life memories in this idea of you being a public figure, being on a platform kind of thing. And the only thing the angels want to leave you with right now, just a little hint, a little clue on the trail, is remind your soul, remind your spirit, it's safe for me to be seen. It's safe for me to be exposed. It's safe for me to be vulnerable. It's safe for me to be a leader. A lot of us, if you're an old soul, which I'm kind of getting from your energy, have experienced enough of life to where they see that being a leader can sometimes lead to persecution or a lot of heavy responsibility that can be challenging or tough. And that's the feeling I'm getting for you, is you've got to remind the deeper memories of your soul, the deepest parts of your psyche. It is safe for me to be a leader. It's safe for me to be powerful. And once you do that, a lot of things open up, it looks like, with regard to divine timing and manifesting your opportunity to really, really step forward with this career that you're very much meant to do. So yeah, beautiful. Yeah. You're manifesting with Isis, and she wants to help you heal your past lives.
That's awesome.
So,
yes. How precise it is.
Yes, that's so good.
Yeah.
Any other questions or thoughts?
No, because I had like a situation with I was hearing like the previous reading, and I had like a situation where my dad actually was was well, he passed away, but it wasn't like a very like normal way of passing away. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like the things that get perceived like, or I perceive as like not being vulnerable for like my own safety. But yeah, so that's why I was mentioning.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a real area for some beautiful blossoming and healing. And definitely call on your dad too to help you. My mom's in heaven. I call on her all the time. I can feel her around me. And it's an amazing thing to have a loved one so close that watches over you in spirit. Because again, it's like they're really integrated with your heart. And that guidance is invaluable. It's precious. So I believe in your success. And I think your angels wanted to give you a little push towards it today.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you are so welcome. You have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you for everything.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. We got so many requests for readings, and definitely you guys will in the future kind of leave a little bit more time so that we can have maybe a whole entire podcast just dedicated to us chatting, talking, doing readings, because I love that so much. So remember, of course, that I'll be live every month on the Bring Me to Life Network, bringing you spiritual discussions and our angel messages. You can go ahead and mark your calendars for Thursday, October 18th for our next live episode. And this podcast, of course, is also available to listen to on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, that's SPREAKER.com, and Stitcher, the app for Android. And I'll be posting the YouTube links for the podcast on my social media pages if you'd like to listen in again, and sharing it on my website at sarahhall.com. Do keep in touch or reach out if you'd like to connect for a private reading or spiritual healing session with me. And do follow the Bring Me to Life tribe for more inspiring radio and so much more beautiful creativity. Thank you again for your presence today, and all of my love to you. Bye.